I have now been in Utah County for 1 month and 1 week, and that is my...
This is my kite right here after I did a good landing. I roll up this one by one. Mountains to be your friend. I want to know if it mattered. I would have gone to war for you. I would have bent the earth in two just to get to our ever after. Something about this has changed. I want to feel you close again. Don't let go. No, I don't want this to end. Whoa. Remember the start when you're breaking my heart again. Like blood on a pen. Would it matter then? When everything starts to fade, I felt like it's
I have now been in Utah County for 1 month and 1 week, and that is my halfway mark. I have about a month and a week left before I come home, and it's been crazy, it's been awesome, it's been hard. There's so many different things that have happened, and I have learned one big lesson in the process, and also I have thought and concluded that I need to do one more big shift that I want to tell you about. The one big lesson I am learning here is that everything that you do to try to change and improve your life comes at a cost. And I have totally been feeling that, especially in the last week. Like today and yesterday were like some of the hardest tests for me, and feeling like, can I keep making this work? Can I keep doing this? And what I found is you're going to be tested to your limits no matter what when you're trying to change your life, when you're trying to improve your life and try to learn new things. And it really is not something that comes easy, but it's totally worth it. And I want to tell you a little bit of how I've been going about it and some of the stuff that's made it tough for me in the last while. First, I want to tell you what I have been doing in the last few weeks. So you may recall, if you watched my last video, I concluded I want to commit to things, and I decided if I commit to certain types of activities to really try to learn them and do them week after week, I'd have to extend my time in a place, and that's what I've done. And over the last few weeks, I want to tell you exactly what I've done. Since I made that change, I have done 19 hot Pilates, hot yoga classes, 9 3-hour paragliding lessons, and with that I've done 34 flights. And 7 of those have been flights from the top of the point of the mountain here in Utah, and which was pretty wild. 7 open play paddle nights where I'm learning how to play paddle and trying to get better at it. 4 nutrition coaching sessions, dance instruction, 3 different nights, and 3 physical therapy sessions, which, you know, it's just that's just another thing. You think, oh, that's just something you need to do. Well, it was just something I'm like, this is something I could commit to also, and I could fix my shoulder in the process, because it's just been hurting for the last few months since a minor snowboarding accident, and they worked on it again seriously today. But I'm also learning Japanese. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do more independently than like being a part of a community of yoga or yogis or a community of the paddle players. I'm doing it more independently with me and Jared, who's going on the trip to Japan with me. I have done 14 30-minute lessons of Japanese, and so I've been practicing my Japanese, and it's slowly coming along. You know, you don't really know until you're immersed in it, but I feel like I can listen to some conversations and be like, okay, yeah, I understood what they said. So there's a lot of stuff I've been doing, and it's been a great experience for me. The big lesson, like I mentioned, that I've been learning is the cost. Yesterday, I woke up going to bed early is kind of hard for me. I just end up always staying up late, and even if I tried to go to bed early right now, I still stay up. I can't get myself to sleep. I'm gonna have to really focus on it if I want to shift and change that. But yesterday morning, I woke up about 5:30, 5:45 to get to paragliding, and I got there, and I hadn't been there for a week because I spent almost a week in Idaho. I went to the Goo Goo Dolls concert with my dad and my brother, which was really fun, a great experience. And I was also released from being in a bishopric with some great people who I was able to serve with. I loved that my time in that, but it was good to get released because here I am doing all this traveling. So it was good that that transition happened at this point in time. But anyways, I was in Idaho, and then I came back, and I hadn't been with the other people I'm learning with in paragliding for like almost a week's worth of lessons. And so I get there, and there's 4 of them, my instructor and 3 other guys who I become friends with. And right from the beginning, I feel like I'm lagging. I forget my helmet, and I'm like, where's my helmet? And I'm looking all over for it, and I'm like, okay, I guess I have to wear my motorcycle helmet today. And so I wore my motorcycle helmet, which happened to be in my truck. And then I get to the top, and I have my glider, and there's all these lines connected to the glider, and it's all tied up, and I feel like I'm just dragging, and I feel like everyone's kind of having to wait for me. I don't know, I just had a feeling, and I'm sure a big part of it had to do with I was just tired. But I felt like a loser. I felt like, do I even belong here? Do I know how to do this? And I have to admit, I was struggling. I started talking to one of the other participants. Her name is Sharon. She's real awesome. She was telling me how she's kind of feeling like an imposter sometimes, that things are coming slow for her, and I'm like, man, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm struggling to get these things down, and we're going back and forth talking about how we feel inadequate. And while we're driving back up to the top of the mountain, we're in the back of a truck and talking about how we're struggling, and I'm just like, you working through these insecurities, this feeling of imposter syndrome. And then I did 4 flights from the top yesterday, and it was the best feeling day I ever had. While I was up in the air, I'm just like, I was feeling less and less apprehensive because I've done several flights from the top of the mountain now. I've done 7, like I mentioned, but I did 4 yesterday, and the feeling I had while I was in the air was, this is why I am doing this. And it's crazy that it was the same morning that I'm feeling like, I don't know if I should even be doing this. Do I even belong here? You know, and here I am having the best day ever, feeling great when I finally get up in the air and I'm doing it. Am I a pro yet at like controlling the kite and those types of things? No, but I actually have learned a ton. And as I start thinking about it and reflecting on it, like, I have come a long ways. And so there's that battle you have to have. It comes at a cost, and it's all internal, like so much internal work of trying to overcome your insecurities and just getting through it and pushing through it when things get hard. It was funny, so yesterday after paragliding, I came home and I was so grumpy. Like the whole friggin' day. And I was getting upset about every little thing, and I'm like, I know it's because I'm just tired and I need some more sleep. And so I came home and I slept for a little while. I don't know how long it was, maybe a couple hours longer to just catch up on sleep. And I got up, and shortly after I hustled to hot yoga, and I got in there and I just kind of felt like I had to push through it. It was a day that I wasn't feeling like 100% connected and happy-go-lucky, and I kind of want to feel happy and connected and talking to people. I just didn't feel it, so I just pushed through it, and I came back home, and about and that was a little bit later in the afternoon, and I had a gap of time, a small gap of time between hot yoga and a dance lesson up in Riverton, Utah. So I drive up about 25-30 minutes to get to this special dance lesson. And as I was getting ready to go, I'm like, okay, I gotta get going. It's like 30 minutes till start time, and I still am feeling grumpy and tired, and just like, I have all of these rationalizations for why I shouldn't go to these things. I should just stay home, relax. I'm tired, I'm not feeling good. Well, I'm like, no, I've committed to these things. I just gotta push through these hard moments, and I know it'll work out in the long run if I can kind of really be invested as much. Now, if I can't, like, legitimately can't invest myself because I'm like really in bad shape or whatever, that's different. But if I can kind of work my way into like really like, okay, I can be there and do it, then that's good. And so I pushed myself and I drove up to Riverton. I was like 25 minutes late, which stinks because they're learning the new steps at 7 and I'm getting there at 7:25, and I'm like, ugh. And so I'm like kicking myself the whole way to dancing. I'm still grumpy all evening. And I get in and everyone's kind of dancing and stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I know, like, are they teaching a new dance like than the one I was learning 2 weeks ago, since I wasn't there last week because of Idaho? I'm like, is this a new dance? I'm like, I don't even know what the dance is. So this instructor, the girl who actually invited me to come to this special, like, smaller venue dance lessons, she was there and she came over, and I'm like, hey, can you help me? And she said, yeah, I'll help you. And I'm like, what is the basic step to this dance? And I think she was confused because I'd been there 2 weeks before and I was learning it, but I really thought we were learning a new dance because I'm just kind of clueless is how it turned out to be. And as we're talking, she's like helping me. She's like being really patient and like supportive and like coaching me through it. And I have this imposter syndrome. I hate feeling like I don't have things figured out, and I kind of just have to go with it. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be leading and I'm looking like a dweeb. And anyways, but she's like patient and helping me, and I'm doing these moves, learning it. I'm like, hey, I'm like kind of getting it. And we practiced for the next 35 minutes before that session ended, and then they have intermediate lessons. But I was only there for 35 minutes. But when I discovered it was the same dance, and I'm learning different moves in the same dance I learned 2 weeks ago, and I learned about their system, that's what they do every week, it's just new moves of the same dance. I'm like, like, I can do this. That's exactly what I want. And I felt good that, like, I learned that, and that I was there that night. And even though I was only there for 35 minutes, on my way home, I'm like, that's what I needed. I'm so happy I pushed through it, even though it was rough, and I was grumpy, and I was embarrassed, and I still feel imposter syndrome that I'm fighting through. And so, it's amazing the different forms of justifications of why we shouldn't do things, why we shouldn't be active, why we shouldn't be proactive, and why we shouldn't be learning and growing. There's so many different forms of it. And I'm convinced that cost is sometimes the hardest because you're fighting with your own insecurities. But if you push through it, it can be incredibly powerful. And I am convinced fully that it is all worth it. Today I went to a new type of hot yoga class. It was called Booty, B-U-T-I. And it's not necessarily like a butt workout, even though it sounds kind of like it. But I did not know what I was getting myself into. I walk in, it's a very small group. There's like 7 or 6 people there. And it turns out like it's kind of like a Zumba class for yoga, but it's like hard. And we're going, and it was the hottest in that room than it has ever been. I was sweating so bad, and I had just eaten this big old burrito like an hour before, and I struggled the worst. I mean, I've been 19 times to hot yoga and Pilates, and I have seen progress, but tonight I'm like, this is so bad. and I had to step out like 3 different times because I was just so hot and I was so tired. Doing some of the exercises, I probably looked incredibly lame, and but I finished, and I was just happy to be done. I don't know if booty is my type of yoga that I want to do. I'm not really crazy about the dancing while doing yoga, and I mean, Pilates is a lot of movement and stretches and like exercises while you're doing yoga, but this is like a step further of like dancing while you're doing it, and I was not good at it, but it's part of the discovery, it's part of the experience, and so you keep going, and even if you hate it sometimes. I wanted to tell you guys about a shift that I want to make that I feel like will improve a little bit more my whole experience here. And I'm losing light quickly, so I better finish up pretty quick. A few weeks ago I mentioned that I went from doing these like single events and then never going back type of thing to being committed. Well, I feel like now I am part of these communities. I had this big experience in yoga one day where I walked in and I felt like, okay, I know this system. I know a lot of these people's names. There's a lot of people who you don't talk too much, the other participants, but I know all the instructors. I know the people at the front desk. I know the owner. I know a few of the other participants, and I felt like I actually am more comfortable in my skin there, in a very good way, and it feels nice to feel like I'm part of a community and comfortable in that community. And I also feel while I'm in there now that I can actually influence the culture. I am trying to create a more positive culture. I'll say hi to people. Whenever I see another guy in there, I'll go and give him a fist bump, and I say, hey, way to represent us guys. And so there's a lot of women in there and a few guys. And it just feels good to kind of create some connections and a good spirit. I'm always telling people now, like, hey, good job, good job. Especially when I'm in a better mood, it's like easier to really help with that good feeling in the room. And one of the instructors said, hey, I really like your spirit, how you're adding to this. And I felt good because I know the instructors, they're trying to do that same thing often. I try to cheer. I feel kind of like an imposter when I cheer sometimes because I'm like, yeah, you know, and then the girls are like, woo! But it still is, it feels good to feel like I'm part of the community now, and I can influence the culture a little bit more by being friendly and supportive and cheering people on. But I felt like there was a part of being a community that I feel like a lot of people the direction that people don't go with communities, that I feel like is the most important part of being a part of a community. And that's taking it to a more personal level. And that's hard because you have to be vulnerable. You have to invite people. You have to be willing to get to know them and invite them to be vulnerable on a more personal level. I decided that I'm going to do a bunch of interviews with a bunch of the different instructors at Freedom Hot Yoga and Hot Pilates. I talked to the owner, And I've already got maybe 6 or 7 people who have agreed to do interviews, and it'll be kind of fun. But a part of that, inviting them to do that, I want them to tell their story. And in so doing, I can connect with them on a more personal level. And I'm going to invite them all to participate in a little social. After we're done, we'll have a little dinner, and they're literally across the street from this complex. And so it's super convenient. I'll say, hey, I just live right here. We'll have a dinner at the clubhouse. If you can make it, come on over. And so I'm trying to take it to that next level of going from being a part of a community to being a part of a group of people that you're friends with, that you're building deeper relationships with. Because then you can talk about your fears, kind of like I was telling you about Sharon and talking to her in the truck. She's telling me about how she's struggling and like worried, and I'm telling her about how I'm struggling. That's what you want, and that's what our experiences should be like. And maybe our worries about life, that's even going further, and so my goal right now is to take it up to that next level. One more thing I want to say is how much our bodies and how our bodies are feeling. Like I mentioned, I was tired all day yesterday and I was grumpy and I had this negative attitude because of it. Our bodies can really influence us. I've been on this diet that my nutrition coach wants me to be on to keep losing weight, and I've been making progress, but it's hard. I'm eating a lot more protein and fats and a lot fewer carbohydrates, and my body is not liking it. It's saying, I do not want to go into ketosis. I don't want to be burning fat. I would prefer running on carbohydrates. And if any of you have done weight loss programs of any kind, you might know how that feels. But to be in this state of what's called ketosis kind of makes you feel nauseous. They call it something flu. It's like she's told me about it a few times, and I've been there. I've been feeling it. And on Monday morning, just a few days ago, I was getting ready for paragliding, and I'm like, why do I feel so crappy? I'm like, and it didn't feel just like a physical crappy. It felt like, I don't want to do this. I'm not motivated. This isn't fun for me. I'm having all these negative thoughts like, why am I even committed to paragliding? I had all these negative thoughts that it felt so real to me, what I was feeling. And honestly, I was like, what's going on? And I had the battle of a lifetime that morning saying, come on, just go. You're committed. Stick with it. Get through this. And finally I'm like, and I was feeling it the night before too. I was talking to my housemate here and telling him the same thing. I'm like, man, I'm feeling so crappy. This is how I'm feeling. And finally I just messaged them and I said, hey, I am having the battle of a lifetime. I'm not feeling well. I actually got sick like on Saturday last week from food poisoning, and I thought maybe that's what it still was, but I felt better on Sunday, so I wasn't sure. But I told them, I'm like, I don't think I can make it. I'm just not yet feeling 100%. Well, I didn't go, and I'm glad I didn't that day. And I had like a semi-cheat day, had a few things that I wasn't supposed to eat, and I was starting to feel a lot better, and I realized it's my diet. That's what's doing it. And I felt super good. Like, I felt happy yesterday morning, even though I was sleep deprived a little bit. I was happy I was going to paragliding. And so even though I felt like my world was crumbling on Sunday night and Monday morning, it all had to do with my body adapting to this new diet and me just not feeling very good. And we just have to realize that when we make decisions, let's not be too hasty of making decisions. If we're just feeling cruddy physically, our bodies are really getting us down. And I feel like that is part of the an important realization to have, to stay committed with things when you're trying to stay strong and be diligent. If you've experienced this, I'd love to hear about how you've experienced this maybe in the past and how you pushed through it. It's been really helpful for me. I have to talk myself into just about everything that I am trying to do. It's funny, I love paddle, but I still have to like talk myself into like, be disciplined and get your gear on and go over there, you know? Every single time I'm like having these little internal dialogues convincing me to like put my heart into it. And one of the things I keep saying is, you're committed, you're committed. My paragliding instructor texted me like 30 minutes ago and he was saying, hey, are you gonna be there tomorrow morning? And I'm like, oh man, I could go next week. I'm thinking in my head, I could go next week. I'm like, no, I can go, I'm committed. Go tomorrow until you get to that level that you want to be to. And so a big part of it is I do have goals that I've established too. I'm trying to reach this level, what's called P2 in paragliding. Once I get there, I can fly independently. I'm signed off to fly independently with my own paraglider, and so I'm working towards my goal. One of my goals with hot yoga and my nutrition coach is to get in shape enough to feel confident about my body enough to be okay with taking my shirt off at hot yoga, and not to feel self-conscious about it, but to be proud of my body when I'm there. And I'm working towards it. It's gonna be a while. I don't know if I'll get there in the next month and a week, but I'll make some progress and we'll see how it all goes. That's been my experience this past while, and I wanna just mention again, my new goal right now for the next month and a week is to try to make things a little bit more personal, invite people to be a part of an activity, to participate in something outside of the normal community that I'm participating with paddle, hot yoga, with paragliding. I'd like to be friends with these people and do something more with them. Let's not just be both students in this type of learning, but let's be friends. And I know it'll pay off as I'm doing that. That's my report. When I first was coming to Utah County, I imagined it being like somebody who is seeking inspiration just by going and seeing sites and stuff. For example, I heard that the original architect of the Salt Lake Temple, he went and traveled to Europe to study different styles of architecture, and in order to figure out how he wanted to design the Salt Lake Temple. And I kind of pictured myself doing the same thing. I'll come and I'll experience these new things, and I'll naturally meet these new people, and the big thing I learned is it's not so simple. It takes work, it takes preparation, it takes investment, it takes vulnerability, it takes confronting your fear and trying and staying steady. But it's worth it, and you can gain that inspiration that you want. And if you want to change your life, that's kind of the cost that it takes. And so stay tuned as I try out some of these different things and try to get a little bit more personal and invite these people to connect.